Hey everyone, Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business. Today we're going to be talking about how can you start vlogging today, what do you need, and what kind of incremental purchases and upgrades and investments can you make to eventually get to the point where you have the same quality of equipment that I've got. Keep in mind, all of the equipment that I have is about $1,000 or so, maybe less. So it's not a crazy place to be at to get to where I'm at. It's somewhat of an investment, but it's not insane if this is what you're trying to do. You know, if you're doing this on a daily basis, if you're making videos all the time, $1,000 is definitely not too crazy to invest. The real investment is when you start to invest in really expensive video recording devices. So right now I'm actually only using a $200 4K video, a webcam. It's a Logitech 4K webcam. And, you know, it's all that I really need for now. But my next upgrade would, in fact, be a camcorder. But how can you start today? Let's start with free and go all the way up to exactly where I'm at. So for free, you know, you can take your phone and you can shoot video like this. It's as simple as that. You've got audio, you've got video. You can shoot selfie videos like this. It's better than nothing, right? Now you want to make a tiny upgrade? Okay, buy a Amazon tripod for $30 and a phone mount for $5 and stick your phone on the mount on your desk or wherever so that you've got a nice stable video and it won't, you know, mess with the audio either. Very small upgrade, but it can make all the difference. It'll also help you to be able to record in different locations very easily. I still use the tripod with my phone if I ever record something that isn't here. And then what you want to do if you're going to upgrade even more, now you want to get a little bit more serious. You want to actually have a desk setup. You know, I bought a webcam, a cheap $30-$40 Logitech webcam that has microphone and video, obviously, and then you can just kind of go from there. You know, obviously you want to have decent lighting, so if you can spend anything on lighting or even just make use of lights that you've already got, you want to have decent lighting coming at you from both left and right to alleviate any shadow as well as just highlight your face in general, like the middle section of the vlog video area as best as you possibly can. I feel like the photography lighting that I use is only about $75 each. I'm not 100%. It actually might be cheaper because I got it as a bundle, but I'll double check. And then what I did was I bought upgrades for the actual lights to be professional lights. And, you know, it's not a crazy upgrade, but it makes all the difference in terms of, it makes all the difference in terms of how this actually looks. So, I mean, if I turn these lights off using Google, hey Google, turn off driveway. It is an insanely big difference. And I say driveway because I have them all, I have all my Google devices categorized into different rooms to make it easier for me to categorize them all. I feel like I could change that now, but regardless. Hey Google, turn on driveway. So as you can see, it makes a huge difference when we're using studio lighting here. And you'll notice it right away. And even if you're just using better lighting, not necessarily studio lighting, but it will make a big difference in how your videos look. And it is one of the cheaper upgrades to make, right? Because the next big upgrade that's going to be really expensive for you is your audio upgrade. Because again, I got this webcam here, 4K webcam, for $200, and the video is pretty much as good as I need it for a while. Whereas the audio on it is not that great, because that's not why you're buying a 4K webcam. You're not buying it for the audio. You're buying it for the 4K. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to buy a separate audio source device. You know, you can kind of go from anything from, you know, portable audio devices and lav mics. Like I I can't remember how long ago I was using those, because I was doing video. I was shooting my vlogs not in front of my desk, so I was using that for a while. But I wouldn't really recommend doing that unless the majority of your videos are going to be on the go. Otherwise, you probably don't need a lav mic. You probably want something more like this. But until you're ready to really dedicate some money, it's a lot cheaper to go with a USB mic like this Yeti that I used to use. But if you're really looking to invest in the best possible quality audio, you might want to look into getting XLR microphone. An XLR microphone. Because it is extremely, extremely better quality. This is almost borderline professional quality. Not as professional as, say, like in a studio, but this is generally what it's going to look like, because it's going to be this grade. They're going to be using XLR mics. They're going to be using sound interfaces. It's going to be a lot more expensive because of all the extra accessories you will need to be able to do this. So if you're just using a USB mic like in the background, it's just whatever you buy comes with it. It works. However, it's not cheap still. It's maybe $100 to $150 for a Yeti mic, and this mic was $200. So if you're willing to put in the extra money, you're going to get a lot more. However, you're going to need more than just this, because you got to buy the XLR cable separately, and this cable was $60, because this is one of the better types of cables that you can get. It's got gold plating on the ends to improve it. It's just one of the higher quality cables that you can get. It's Mogami. And again, I'll link all these in the description. But since it's XLR and your computer obviously doesn't have XLR, you're also going to need to buy a sound interface. I originally started off using a Scarlett Solo. I believe those are only like $100 or so it's not too bad, but you're going to need to have that as well. So there's going to be other upgrades that you're going to have to buy. Even if you don't end up going XLR and you just use the USB mic, you could still make small upgrades like pop filter for $10, pop shield for like $15. Having a stand, because if it's elevated, it's less likely to suffer from vibrations. So if it's on your desk might vibrate or move or jitter or whatever, and it'll affect the sound quality. You could also get a shockwave mount, as you can see how the mic is not just necessarily attached to the stand here, but it's attached to this mount here. And this helps prevent as many, it lessens the amount of vibrations that are going to happen, because it'll keep the mic stable as best as possible. Obviously, as long as you're not hitting it or something, because that will obviously be picked up. So these are some upgrades that you can make for your audio. Now I'm actually going to pick up the camera here and show you some of what I've got going on. All right, so let's actually take a look at some of this stuff. Okay, so this is the sound interface that I use. You can see where the red light is. That's where the XLR actually plugs in. You don't need something this technical. This is more for my music, because this is a lot more in depth than you would ever actually need. But with a simple Scarlett Solo, for example, you would be able to get everything you need out of an interface, and I believe it's close to $100. So the XLR is then plugged into this, and then this is plugged into your PC. As you can see, I got a nice little Super Smash amiibo there. I'm a pretty big fan of Super Smash, if you didn't know. Anyways, outside of that, we've got, this is my program that's actually, this is Adobe Audition. This is monitoring what we're doing. I'll actually screen share that so it doesn't look so awkward. And then here I've got my photography lighting on both sides of my computer, aiming down at me for the best possible lighting. Hey Google, turn off photography 2. I just wanted to also quickly show you guys what the bulb looks like, because the bulb is, well, it's interesting to say the least. Okay. Hey Google, turn on photography 2. You can see it makes a huge difference when you've got the lighting on. But yeah, the bulb is very interesting. I can't remember exactly how many LED lights are on it, but there's a ridiculous amount, and it was a cheap upgrade that made a huge difference to the lighting setup that I originally got, because it was just basic, yellow light bulbs that you would just get from anywhere. And then I use Google Home to control a lot of my setup because it's literally behind my desk, and it would be very challenging for me to go back there and to set it all up. So I use cheap, Google Home smart plugs, and then a Google Home, and then I can just control everything like that very easily. And I will link every single product in the description so that you know what, like if you want the exact setup that I have to a T, you could buy the exact setup that I've got. Now let's look at the actual software that I'm using. Oh my geez. So, okay. Perfect. All right, so when we're looking at the actual software, this was a very, very recent change that I started to use. I use Adobe Audition, and in real time, it will remove all the background noise, a lot of the noise that you otherwise don't want in your video. You don't want it to be picked up by your audio source. So you can see here, it's using adaptive noise reduction. And I just run this in real time while I record videos. So I want to show you what it sounds like when I'm not using adaptive noise reduction. So this is what it sounds like. It's a lot less clear. And it's interesting. I'm turning it back on now. It's interesting because this costs $20 a month, but it makes all the difference in terms of sound quality, and I highly recommend using it. There's a million different programs, plugins, digital audio workspaces that you can use. So it's really just whichever you prefer, but if you wanted to know exactly what I'm using, this is what I'm using currently. I only recently started to use adaptive noise reduction, and it has made such a drastic improvement. As well as I've been using my actual professional microphone rather than just my Blue Yeti. My Blue Yeti, again, huge improvement. Makes all the difference for your sound. And I feel like now, because of all this, my audio quality is pretty much at the top of its game, unless I wanted to get crazy and buy some like $5,000 microphone or something. It's pretty much as good as you can get it when you get to this point. When you eliminate all environmental sound, you've got pop filter, your elevated shockwave mount, XLR mic, quality XLR cabling. You're putting in your due diligence to your equipment to ensure that you've got the best audio. And this is pretty much as far as you can get. And you can do this post-processing audio without having to invest in all this crazy stuff. So I'd say if you want a noticeable improvement on the quality, you should look at doing post-processing for your audio before you worry about getting a crazy expensive mic. Because you can still obviously use post-processing on a Blue Yeti mic and, get a really good result, but it won't be as crisp as this sounds. But this is like all bundled together, probably, a $400, $500 upgrade from the Blue Yeti, which is probably just like an $130 to $150 upgrade, somewhere around there. I'll include everything in the description. You'll be able to see the exact prices because things change. So yeah. And then last but not least, this really awful video editing program that I use called Movavi Video Editor is what I use for video editing. Honestly, I don't recommend using this unless you are trying to get the bare bones basics for video editing. This is a step above Movie Maker, Windows Movie Maker, which is just like complete garbage, but it's free. This is like a slight step up from that, but this is still very, very low grade, low quality video editing software. This is about $40 one-time fee because I wanted to spend as little as possible on my software, but now I'm looking into potentially getting Premiere or something just a little bit more advanced so I can do much more advanced editing. And you will have to decide on what type of editing software you will use, obviously based on your operating system and then based on what you plan to do. Because I mean, say you were going to have like multiple video sources and you were going to switch between them and do a ton of fancy stuff, you're probably going to need a better video editing software. And most today you can get on a subscription basis, but I'm sure there's some out there that you could just invest for a one-time fee as well. Let me know what kind of video editing software and audio editing software you use if you are already vlogging or creating in some respect. I'd love to hear from you guys because I need some suggestions as to where you think I should go for my video editing software. Like I said, this is pretty much laughable, but luckily for me, I film all my videos essentially to be uncut, and I'm just doing very, very basic. I just drag, drop it in, throw in my music in the background, and I'm pretty much good to go. So that's one other thing, is the music, adding music to your vlog in the background, intro, all that stuff. You want to use something decent. You want it to sort of flow through very well. Music really helps connect with the audience because it's much more relatable and can help establish different emotions. It's really nice to have a little subtle music, especially for your intro and outro. People almost always have something there. So definitely consider that. The cheapest place that I would go is Audio Blocks because you can get a very, very inexpensive monthly subscription where you can just download as much as you like, and then you can end your subscription and you can keep all of that and use it royalty free. It is probably the best possible low cost solution that you could utilize for your audio. Well, not for your audio, but for your music and your loops and the things that you're going to add in your editing, in your post process. And then outside of that, I think the only thing left really is, the type of thumbnails and image editing that you use. So when you're almost done, you're ready to post your vlog, you want to have a nice clean thumbnail for your video. And I use Photoshop because Photoshop is just a really great go-to software. And I've designed this nice little template that I use where I can go through and I can switch the type of I took a bunch of photos with a high resolution camera, and then I cropped myself out, and then I have these different poses that I can use and just swap through them to keep it a little bit varied, and then I can just edit the text as I need to. And I'll change this for every thumbnail. And then I also have a 1000 by 1000 version for Instagram. And you can just sort of, you want to create a nice good template that is really high quality, and then you can just sort of adapt it to new ones. Some people put in a lot of effort to their thumbnails where they'll make a completely new one every single time. I commend you for that because I could not put in the time to do that. And I think that covers the majority of what we've got here. But, as a parting thought, I think it's important to ensure that you're not doing so much that you don't like it. You don't want to kill the creative aspect or the creative side to what you're doing by doing too much or putting too much work on your plate. So, for example, I don't do different thumbnails because I wouldn't value it enough to put in the amount of work that it would take to do it. And I don't do subtitles because it would take me so long to be able to go through and actually write out everything that I was saying, so long that it kills the creativity, and then I don't feel motivated to actually record anything. And that's why I don't have subtitles, and my thumbnails are based out of a template. You need to do whatever you are comfortable with that will still allow you to be motivated to be creative and to keep up with your cadence of how often you make videos or posts. Let me know if this was helpful for you, if this gave you a decent insight to what I do. I don't mind sharing these things. If you'd like an actual full-on review of the individual products that I've used, I can actually dive in depth and look at them each individually to give you a better overview. But I felt like this was a great summary to share with you what it takes to get this quality, as well as how you can start and how you can slowly level up your game to get to a point like this. Not that this is the end goal by any means. My next upgrade will be my camera, but this is a great spot, and I'm very, very happy with the level of quality that I am now currently at. And you can get there too. It's not too expensive. You just need to be able to invest a little bit and put in the time and effort to create and focus on your vlogs. So let me know if this helped. Are you going to start? Has this helped you with your vlogs that you're already doing? Share your vlog in the comment section if you'd like. I'll check it out and give you some tips if you would like to see that as well. And as always, keep keeping on. Cheers.